Hello and welcome to GLC TV, a YouTube channel where we might post some videos of Pokemon TCG Gym Leader Challenge gameplay and deck lists. I'm your host, Noah, aka TV Boy. This game was played on September 6th, and no tournament this time. Instead, Cory and I realized we both had some rare time without any kids or spouses in the house and decided to meet up to jam some GLC games on a Friday night. Thanks to Cardboard Diamonds in Tigard, Oregon for letting us play and record our games in your game store, and then raid your Pokemon bulk piles afterwards. Cory was eager to provide some gameplay video for the channel, and this was one of the more interesting games we played that night. For those who don't know, Gym Leader Challenge, or GLC, is an official custom format of the Pokemon TCG created by Andrew Mahone, in which players use cards printed from the expanded era card pool of sets to build a deck with only Pokemon of a single type, and can only include a single copy of each card except for basic energy. And finally, cannot use any cards which have a rule box, which includes things like V-Stars, EXs, Radiant Pokemon, and A-Spec cards. Cory is trying out the water deck that was recently featured on Cardboardwarriors by Marimbist11, a pretty unique take on water that is meant to be consistent and aggressive. Sort of like a hybrid between a fast attacking deck and a spread deck. My deck that I'm playing today is a lightning combo deck that utilizes Call Signal Magneton to string together a powerful turn of multiple supporters with Lieutenant Surge's strategy to set up an early Electivire with reversal energy and luxurious cape that can threaten to wipe the opponent's board early in the game. Just a note, I was running the wrong Electrode in my deck during this game. I meant to include the Buzzap Thunder version from XY Evolutions, but I was still waiting for my copy to come in the mail, and I had forgotten to check my deck and swap it out with a proxy beforehand. So I just went with it, and ultimately it didn't matter, but just know that I normally would be using this version, not the one in the video. Cory wins the die roll and decides to go second. I start off with a Magnemite in the active spot and a Trainer's Mail to look at the top 4 cards of my deck, which finds me Ball Guy for next turn. The other option being Volkner, but I really didn't need any more energy, so Ball Guy it was. I play Speed Lightning on Magnemite to see if I can draw into any more setup cards. I also have Hisuian Heavy Ball in hand, so I play Town Store to search my deck and see if there's any basic Pokemon in the prizes, or if I should save the Heavy Ball as discard fodder. I grab Luxurious Cape and see that Electabuzz is in the prizes, so I go ahead and grab that with the Hisuian Heavy Ball. So now I am ready to evolve into Electivire and Magneton on my next turn. Just have to find a few more pieces to make it all start happening. And pass the turn. Cory starts off with an Irida, initially to go find Hisuian Basculin and Evolution Incense, but he realizes that both Floatstone and Air Balloon are prized, so instead he grabs Palafin and Buddy Buddy Poffin to get Finnison and Sobble onto the bench. This way he'll have enough energy next turn to both manually retreat his Shelter and be able to attack with the Palafin. He also decides to grab Muscle Band with the Town Store while he's searching his deck. I start off my second turn with Ball Guy. I grab Quick Ball and Ultra Ball with the Nest Ball and Level Ball in my prizes, and then grab TM Evolution with the Town Store.
I did check my prizes, I forgot.
I know that Palafin's coming in next turn, likely with a Muscle Band from the Town Store. So I need a Pokemon that can use TM Evolution that I also don't mind getting knocked out here. I use Quick Ball to grab Emolga, then attach Capture Energy to it to grab Blitzel. And now I have a difficult choice of which 2 of my bench Pokemon to evolve here, and whether I should attach a Luxurious Cape now, in case Cory has a boss's orders, to go with his Palafin next turn. I decide to put the cape on Electabuzz and leave the Magnemite unevolved. I can get the Magneton next turn with Ultra Ball, and if Cory does have Boss next turn, he's most likely going to target the Magnemite, so I might as well evolve the other two, Zebstrika and Electivire, instead. Cory evolves Palafin. He then evolves Sobble into Drizzile, and uses Shady Dealings to get Town Map, revealing his prizes as Hisuian Heavy Ball, Air Balloon, Floatstone, Remoraid, Peony, and Apricorn Maker, which explains why he didn't just use Town Store there to get a retreating tool. Having the Remoraid, the Hisuian Heavy Ball, and the two pivot tools prized here is pretty rough for Cory to not be able to get Octillery set up. Thankfully, Cory has the town map here. With the two pivot tools prized and Muscle Band already in his hand, Cory has no more valid search targets for Town Store either. He uses his own ball guy to get Dive Ball, Nest Ball, and Timer Ball. He uses the Nest Ball to get Hisuian Basculegion, then plays Chaotic Swell to bump the Town Store. He retreats into Palafin and uses Vanguard Punch to take a knockout on Emolga. I bench Voltorb and grab Magneton with the Ultra Ball to kick off my combo with Magneton's Call Signal, giving Cory another prize so I can get Surge's Strategy, Chorus Tenacity, and Delinquent out of my deck. By giving my opponent a prize for Magneton, the combo of Call Signal plus Surge's Strategy allows me to play out all three supporters I grabbed from the deck, even if the opponent hasn't taken any prize cards on their own yet. I use Delinquent. Cory discards Hisuian Heavy Ball, Timer Ball, and Dive Ball. Very smart of Cory to take the useless Hisuian Heavy Ball off of his prizes when I use Call Signal, knowing that I would most likely be making him discard some cards, possibly his entire hand. I then use Chorus's Tenacity to get Reversal Energy and Stormy Mountains, which I use to get Tapu Koko. Attach the Reversal and discard my hand to draw 4 new cards with Zebstrika's Sprint ability. I get the last Lightning Energy out of my deck with Professor's Letter, and then use High Voltage Current. Which knocks out Basculegion for 50, does 100 damage to Palafin because of weakness, and 50 damage to all of Cory's other Pokemon. Cory will find a way to get rid of this Electivire, or at least stop it from attacking next round, otherwise he's in a lot of trouble here. Cory plays one of the more interesting tech cards in this water deck, the Quick Shooting Inteleon, instead of the arguably much more powerful Shady Dealings version of Inteleon, and uses the Quick Shooting ability to deal 2 damage to Electivire. Then he does something pretty smart. He uses Vanguard Punch to deal 130 damage to Electivire. But importantly, knocks out his own Palafin, forcing me to go down to 4 prizes, and matching him at 4 prizes, which then turns off my Reversal Energy. Which means unless I can get 2 more energy on Electivire, I won't be able to use High Voltage Current next round. I do still have an out though. My Electrode can knock itself out to use its ability, which importantly will put me back behind on prizes and turn my Reversal Energy back on. But I definitely made a mistake by discarding it to Sprint last turn, thinking that I wouldn't need it anymore. So now I need to find a Pokemon recovery item to get this Electrode back into play. I use Stormy Mountains to see what recovery items I have left in the deck. I decide that I'm all in on this plan to get Electrode into play, so I attach my last energy in hand to my Tapu Koko. Then use Escape Rope to get Electivire out of the active before I discard my hand. I lament here that I can't just use Green's Exploration due to Zebstrika's ability. Cory sends up Inteleon from the Escape Rope, which has 100 HP left and is weak to lightning.
Put that in the active. This one. I think. But I guess you want that.
I want that.
Okay.
Because I need to draw cards.
Okay, that makes sense.
I sprint away the rest of my hand, drawing Counter Gain, Gladion, TM Devolution, and Artisan. So no recovery item. I use Gladion, but again, no recovery items in the prizes. And the closest thing I have is Arvin, which will be able to get me a Rescue Stretcher next round. But for now, I am going to have to just retreat Zebstrika into Tapu Koko and pass. Cory finally gets Octillery into play and attaches an Energy and Muscle Band to Shelder, and then draws 4 cards with Abyssal Hand. He's now got the perfect response to my Electivire, playing Versus Seeker to replay Irida, getting Rapid Strike Cloister and Field Blower to knock out my Electivire by discarding the Luxurious Cape and reducing its HP by 100. Getting rid of my Floatstone as well, and going down to 3 prizes left. He considers taking Air Balloon here from the prizes, but instead takes the Peony, with a plan in mind, I'm sure. And then Quick Ball gets Froakie into play, and he uses Quick Shooting to put 2 damage counters on Tapu Koko. But without a way to get the Inteleon active without giving up his energy attachment for a turn, he has to just pass. I finally draw the Rescue Stretcher for turn off my draw. A little late, but still going to be helpful for getting Electivire back out. So I shuffle the Electabuzz, Electivire, and the Electrode back into my deck, and use the Stormy Mountains to get the Electabuzz right back into play. Now that Cory is again ahead on prizes, I can attach Counter Gain to Tapu Koko so that I can use Flying Flip while I get to use my energy attachment for a turn to start charging up Electabuzz again. Since I naturally drew into a Rescue Stretcher, my Arvin lets me instead find Special Charge to put Reversal Energy and Counter Energy back into the deck. I then sprint away my hand to draw 4 new cards, and with a Night Stretcher I'm able to get another energy back to attach to Electabuzz. And I also find my Electivire, although I do need to wait a turn to evolve it. No. Next turn. Oh, now Cory knows it's in our hand. All I need now is a Counter Energy or Reversal Energy, and I can start spreading 50 damage again. But for now, Flying Flip will do 20 damage to all of Cory's Pokemon. But does 40 damage to Inteleon due to weakness, and does 0 to Cloister due to that Shell Armor ability. Once again, the game has become all about the Electivire and whether Cory can keep it out of play. But if Cory can find Guzma here, he could attach energy to the Cloister and take the knockout on Electabuzz due to the Muscle Band. But he's actually got a way cooler play in mind. He attaches the energy from his hand to the Inteleon, then he plays Peony, discards his hand, and gets Aqua Patch, Level Ball. Aqua Patch Water Energy to the Cloister, and then Level Ball to get Frogadier, which uses the Gale Shuriken ability to put 2 damage counters on any Pokemon when Frogadier evolves, and he does 2 damage to the Electabuzz. He then Quick Shootings the Electabuzz for 20 more damage, putting it at 30 health HP remaining, and with the Cloister he's able to do 30 bench damage to finish off the Electabuzz, and in addition to that he draws 5 cards off of Octillery. And leaves the Tapu Koko with 10 HP remaining to go down to Quick Shooting next turn. I gotta say, this completely justified quick shooting Inteleon in this deck for me, seeing this play and the way the math kind of worked out perfectly there with the combination of the Aqua Split plus quick shooting plus the Frogadier is 70 bench damage, and so many Pokemon, especially evolving basics in the game, are a 70 HP or less because of Buddy Buddy Poffin. So that makes this combination of these three Pokemon here quite potent in this deck, and I can see why Marims runs it. And I've just finally read his article, and yeah, he is fully aware of how the math works out there. And now Cory has me up against the ropes and is threatening game over next turn by knocking out Tapu Koko and Voltorb. However, like the old Turbo Raikou decks, my deck is built around Electivire's spread attack, which means I have backup plans on backup plans for getting this Electivire back into play. And I use Thornton to transform my Voltorb into Electabuzz with the same number of turns in play as the Voltorb, meaning I can immediately evolve it into Electivire to get it out of the quick shooting plus Cloyster's Aqua Split attack KO range. Now the question is, do I hold on to this Versus Seeker in my hand to replay the Coral's Tenacity to get Reversal Energy on the next turn, or should I just sprint and try to find that Reversal Energy by drawing? And certainly not enough to win the game, and then my Electivire just becomes exposed to getting knocked out anyway by being in the active spot. But if I leave Tapu Koko in the active and I Flying Flip instead, the damage from Flying Flip will put all 4 of Cory's Pokemon into KO range with Electivire's High Voltage Current if he doesn't have any healing or way to increase their total HP. As Cloyster takes 10 from Flying Flip now that it's in the active due to being weak to Lightning, which will leave it at 70 HP, which is exactly how much damage High Voltage Current will do to it after weakness and before Shell Armor. And I'll get to guarantee that I get to use High Voltage Current next turn with Colress's Tenacity. So I just leave Tapu Koko and use Flying Flip here. Unfortunately, Cory has Red's Challenge, a card that is very similar to the old Computer Search from base set, but as a supporter, to get Greninja, and attaches Luxurious Cape to it, putting it way out of KO range. He then draws 4 cards with Octillery. Uses Evo Instance to get discards Empoleon with Earth and Vessel, finishes off the Tapu Koko with Quick Shooting, going down to 1 prize, and I promote the Electivire so that I'll be able to attack with it next round, but he uses Escape Rope to switch out his Cloyster, and more importantly forces me to retreat into Zebstrika, which means now I'll have to find both a Reversal Energy and a way to switch out my Zebstrika to Electivire. Cory puts up Greninja, which has 240 HP, and the Evasion Jutsu, meaning that it won't take any damage if Cory flips a heads as when I attack it. And importantly, it's not weak to lightning, it is weak to grass. At this point, my deck is actually out of switches, so I'm going to have to just retreat this horse manually. So I use Clara to get energy back into my hand and attach it to Zebstrika, and I pass the turn. It's really important when playing Lightning to know when and when not to sprint, and in this case it made sense to me to not sprint, keep the Versus Seeker so that I'll get the Reversal Energy next turn rather than risking not drawing it naturally, since it could be at the bottom of my deck for all I know. But Cory's got just 1 prize left to take. I still have 4 prizes. But all of my Pokemon have 110 HP remaining, and at the moment, Cory's damage is maxed out at 100 with Cloyster plus Muscle Band plus Quick Shooting. He attaches Water Energy to Greninja, Floatstone to Octillery, and then finds Marnie off the random receiver. and forces us to both shuffle our hands to the bottom and draw. Cory then uses quick shooting and furious shurikens on the Greninja to set all of my Pokemon back down to 5 damage counters on them. But off of the Marnie, I actually drew into my reversal energy, which was perfect. I attach reversal energy to the Electivire. I sprint away the rest of my hand to draw 4 cards. I actually draw a Zerosic Scheme, but I realized that knowing that there's an Empoleon in Cory's discard pile, which could do 60 damage to any of my Pokemon, which I have two Pokemon in play with 60 HP left. If I use Zerosic Scheme on him, it will just make it that much easier for him to use Emergency Surfacing to get that Empoleon out. So I just hold off on playing any supporters. Well, actually, instead I play Lusamine to get back Surge's Strategy and Cynthia and Caitlyn, and that's actually a pretty cool loop you can do with the deck. And finally, I get to use High Voltage Current, which knocks out Inteleon and Octillery, putting me to 2 prizes, which is perfect because it keeps my reversal energy turned on for next turn. And now, by removing the main threat to me being able to survive, which is the Inteleon, since Electivire has 90 HP left, both Cloyster and Greninja can only do 50 and 80 damage respectively, Cory needs to find a boss here. Otherwise, I'm going to be able to High Voltage Current and take 2 more prizes next turn. Cory plays the Pokegear and finds the Guzma right on the top, allowing him to Guzma up my benched Tapu Koko with 60 HP, switches into his Cloyster and takes the final knockout with Aqua Split. And the win over my gimmicky Lightning deck. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please make sure to like the video and leave a comment below on what you thought of the game. That helps spread the channel to more people that might be interested in seeing this kind of content. If you want to be updated on when new videos come out, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications. And I hope that you get to play some GLC games too.